Parshat Tavo contains within it the 98 terrible curses that will befall Klal Yisrael if they do not keep the Torah. And as we note in source number 2, the Gemara Megillah tells us that Ezra tikein lahem l'Yisrael shiyu korim klolo shebatoras kohanim kodem atzeret v'shebmishneh Torah kodem Rosh Hashanah. There was the takana of Ezra that 2 weeks before Shavuos to read the curses that are found in Parshat Bechukosai, and 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah to read the curses that are found in Parshat Tavo. And one of the reasons is Kedei shetechalesh tanavik liloteha, that the year and its curses should end. But there's also this aspect that it's an awakening before Shavuos as well as before Rosh Hashanah, times Yimei Din, times of judgment, that we should be able to work on ourselves to realize that there are consequences for our actions, and that if we do not behave according to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects of us, realize that terrible atrocities can happen. And indeed, in looking at Jewish history, we've seen, unfortunately, not only can they happen, but they have happened, and our recent history is a proof of this. Continues Rav Rice in source number 2. Ulam suma aleinu lakor v'livdok ma hayu hagormim haruchaniyim shebiglalam mayemed Torah bo noshim chavorim kol kach. If the Torah is going to tell us about these terrible punishments, we need to understand, well, what did we do that we would deserve such punishments? And here Rav Rice raises two very fundamental questions, which are our questions. At the beginning of the Tochacha, at the beginning of this chapter, in source 3, it says, V'haya im lo tishma b'kol Hashem lokecha, lishmor la'asod kol mitzvotav v'chukotav. The section begins, and if you don't listen to the Torah, and you don't heed Hashem's words to keep these mitzvos, so then this is the result. This makes tremendous amount of sense. It's an overall direction upon all of us to keep Torah and mitzvos so that we ensure that these terrible things shouldn't happen. The question that we have, though, is that later in the Parsha, we have the pasuk, and this is found in source number 1. The Torah tells us that these curses will come Tachar shelovata Hashem Elokecha b'simcha uvetuv levav mirov kol. Because you did not serve Hashem your God amid gladness and goodness of the heart when everything was abundant. To this, at the end, in the asterisk in source 2, these are the questions that Rav Rice raises. Question 1 is, will the real reason please stand up? Is the reason why the Tochacha, this rebuke, these terrible curses will happen because we don't keep Torah mitzvos? Or is it because we didn't serve Hashem with gladness? Which would mean that yes, we did mitzvos, and yes, we learned Torah, but we were missing this component of simcha, of joy, and therefore these terrible things happen. Which one is it? Is it we were keeping it but we lacked simcha, or we weren't keeping it at all? How do we reconcile these two psukim? And the second question is, if indeed you want to argue that the reason that the entire tocha, the entire klolos are happening is because we didn't serve Hashem with simcha, we then ask, Hayitachein davar kazeh? Can we actually say such a thing? That these terrible atrocities happen because we lack simcha in our avodas Hashem? We lack joy in doing mitzvos? Let's be honest with ourselves. How many people do we know that every time they say a bracha, they're jumping for joy? They get so excited. Wow! To do a mitzvah. Can we say most people are on this level? So this level, which is such a high level to reach, we're held accountable that such terrible punishments will ensue because we don't have this? So how do we understand what the Chumash is trying to teach us? So obviously, there are many, many approaches to this question. I'd like to suggest 5 approaches, some a bit similar, to answer this question. Within these approaches, to focus in on our avoda and elul, and hopefully to be able to come out with a very clear mahalach, very clear direction on from today's shir, what we should be working on, what we should be thinking about now in the middle of Chodesh Elul. Approach number 1, Sefer Eila Dvarim, Rav Schlesinger, the Rav of the Shchunat Gila. He says in source 4, B'derech hapshat yesh mi shepirei shehadgesh shepasuk eino mustav ala eder simcha ela halimanut me'avodat Hashem b'chlal. It seems clear that all of these terrible curses are not coming because of a lack of joy, but clearly because we did not do Ritzon Hashem. So how do we understand this pasuk? Tachar shelo avadata. So he explains it similar to the Mishnah in Perek Vav, Mishnah Yud Aleph in Pirkei Avos. So Rabbi Yonasan said, all those, Perek Dalet Mishnah Yud Aleph, Kol Makayim et Torah Ma'oni, all those who keep Torah from poverty, Sofa L'Kayim Ma'osher, in the end will keep Torah from wealth. V'chol Mevatel et Torah